you know, I have a lot of great amps in the studio, and a lot of times when I'm speaking to a guitar player that's coming in, for example, I'll say, bring in your amplifier as well, because I can split it into some of my other ones. But he's used to that sound, and he wrote the song with that sound in mind. So I want to have that element. And maybe it's not the fattest or the biggest guitar rig, and I have other amps, and I can add that to that and make it sort of enhance what he's already got. But I think that's a very important point, that people write to an effect or to a sound, and that's what they want to hear. That's what they're used to hearing.
Right.
So
right.
I think the main thing is to accommodate the artist. I mean, they're the most important thing. The engineer really has to take a secondary seat, and not, you have to go with what makes them comfortable.
Well, how do you handle it? How do you do it then, as far as, because I've worked with some engineers sometimes who can, you know, who may or may not be a good idea, but they, like, when you hear something, like, I know some artists are very, very, like, they don't want to hear a lot of constructive criticism,
Right.
or they may, or some artists are a lot more open to it, and
Right.
and then to get that good working relationship.
Yes, I think there's a real psychology to that, because you don't never want to discourage somebody if they do a bad performance. So you don't want to ever say, hey, that sucked. You can say, we can do it again, you could do better. I've heard you play it better. So I think that you always have to walk that fine line. And in mixing, a lot of times, people are going to want a certain thing, and it may not be what I want to hear in it, but I always look at it like it's their baby, and they're doing this one record, and it's their life. And to me, next week I'm on to another project, so it's more important to please the client and give them what they want. Because there's no right and wrong. Nobody can say, if somebody knew what a hit record really was, they could make them all day long.
Right.
So, you know, I always say it's their baby, and I'm going to give them what they want, and I'm going to do the best job for them. And whether I'm pleased with that result or it goes against my grain to have that certain effect in, or I think it sounds like too much reverb, if they like it, it's really their project and their vision. And I'm going to be off doing another project next week, and that's the project they live with for the rest of their life.